If you walked into a room and there was a bear, your brain would activate the sympathetic nervous system, and you would either do what honor demands and fight the bear, or come to your senses and run. Either one of those would require the sympathetic nervous system, which includes alpha 1, beta 1, and beta 2 receptors. I want to share a method with you that will help you not only remember them, but understand them. But to do that, we have to start at the beginning, the nervous system. Now, the nervous system is broken into two categories. There's the central nervous system, which is the brain and spinal cord, and then there's the peripheral nervous system, which is everything outside the brain and spinal cord. Now, the peripheral nervous system breaks into two subcategories. There's voluntary nerves, which are the nerves you would use to control your muscles to either fight or run from that bear. And then there's involuntary, or the autonomic nervous system. Now, whether you decided to fight or run, think of what the body had to do to prepare for that. Our lungs needed to be able to bring more oxygen on board, our heart needed to be able to pump blood faster, and our blood pressure needed to be higher to make sure that we're infusing that oxygen-rich blood to our muscles so we can either run or fight the bear. But none of these things are done voluntarily. You're not thinking about increasing your blood pressure or your heart rate. It just happens. The autonomic nervous system, or the involuntary nervous system, is broken into two categories. The parasympathetic, which used to be called the feed and breed, but it's since been changed to the rest and digest. And then there's the sympathetic, which is the fight or flight. And this is where the alpha 1, beta 1, and beta 2 receptors come in. So let's explain those along with a memory aid to help you remember. Receptor sites are attached to certain parts of your body that the sympathetic nervous system is going to need to be able to activate, like your blood vessels and your heart and your lungs. So when we saw the bear and the sympathetic nervous system got activated, well, our brain said, okay, we're going to need some more oxygen on board. So it releases chemicals that bind with the receptors in our lungs that cause bronchial dilation. Now, the memory aid, we have two breathing lungs, beta 2. And we also need an increased heart rate to circulate all that oxygen and blood around. So another chemical binds to receptors found in the heart called beta 1 receptors, and the memory aid is one beating heart. Now, you may have already guessed this, but our blood vessels need to constrict to increase our blood pressure, so chemicals are released that trip the receptors bound to our arteries, or A1 for arteries. Now, there's not one specific chemical in the body that activates these receptor sites. Sometimes it can be something like epinephrine, which works on all three receptor sites. And other times it could be something like albuterol, which just works on the beta receptor sites. But when the brain determines it's going to have to fight or run, it releases epinephrine, which binds to the alpha 1 receptor sites, causing our blood pressure to increase. It binds to the beta 1 receptor sites in the heart that cause our heart rate to increase. And it binds to the beta 2 receptor sites in our lungs, which dilate the bronchioles, allowing more air into the lungs.